I'm Najia from twocircles.net. Here we have M D Nalapat, son of the great writer Kamala Suraiya. He's here for a short interview. Can you please tell me about your mother? What you remember about her most?
What I remember about her is she had no prejudices. She was willing to believe that every individual, every human being had good and bad qualities, and that the good qualities were better than the bad qualities. So in that sense, even people who hurt her, she found it difficult to dislike them or to hate them. And when they made the slightest show of reconciliation to her, she completely forgave all the past, and she became quite friendly with them. So that was her biggest quality, the quality of forgiveness and the quality of understanding that human beings can make mistakes, human beings are capable of sometimes emotion that is not worthy of them, but every human being can change and become a better person.
Now, can you please tell me about yourself?
In my case, as I said, I've been a journalist, I've been an academic, I've been a company administrator, I've worked in different, in various things like non-formal education, children's education, environment, and various fields. So I think a very, very varied background. And each of these different areas of background, I think, has gone together to create a concept of how integrated personality should be. A lot of our problem today comes from the fact that we follow a very narrow path. And I think if we understand that we are a much broader personality and we try and understand and accommodate different experiences, then I think in our own lives and the lives of others, we can make a better difference.
Can you tell me what you are doing right now, your profession?
I am the professor of geopolitics and the UNESCO Peace Chair at Manipal University. My track is India-China, so basically looking at how relations between India and China can improve. I'm very interested in India, I'm interested in Russia, China, United States, basically all countries that have an impact on India. For example, the Middle East has a very strong impact on India, so I'm very interested in the Middle East. I go frequently to the Middle East. So how different countries and different regions can pool their synergies with India and develop. I'll give you an example about the Middle East. We have got very good technology and we've got a lot of trained people. Now the Middle East has got a lot of very bright youngsters. Now let us say that we have a better partnership. Then we can have a lot of educational institutions between India and the Middle East. And we can jointly train millions of people in the Middle East and millions of people in India. So both can benefit. India cannot make a world-class aircraft. We don't have the resources, we don't have the ability. But we have the skills and the knowledge base. If the Middle East and India come together, it's like a table with 4 legs. India may have 2 legs, the Middle East has 2 legs. On either of those 2 legs, we are weak. But if we come together, then I think we can, India and the Middle East together can compete with the rest of the world. Which is why I'm very clear that India and the Middle East must come as full partners.
What is your understanding about Islam? I would like you to mention it as 2 parts, before your mother became a Muslim and after she became a Muslim.
Well, actually my mother's been interested in Islam for a long time. She obviously regards it as a very great religion. So I have also therefore followed that religion, and I've never believed that Islam is a religion of hate or a religion of violence. Although there are some schools which profess to be the genuine Islam, which in my view don't represent Islam at all, which preach hate and violence, the real Islam, in my view, is a religion which my mother accepted and which she followed, which is an Islam which is peaceful, an Islam that is moderate. And we can see that, for example, in the Middle East, where you see people of different religions living happily together. You see Christians, you see Hindus, you see different people of different religions working in the Middle East and perfectly in the same atmosphere. So I think you can see in India, you can see mosques, you can see churches, you can see temples. I think that harmony is very important. And I think that harmony and that synthesis and that understanding and tolerance is what my mother believed to be the genuine Islam, and what I therefore believe to be the genuine Islam.
How do you see the controversies occurred after Kamala Suraiya's death? How do you see them?
Personally, I was not very bothered about the controversies because she has openly converted to Islam, and therefore it was very clear that her preferences were very clear. As the sons of Kamala Suraiya, we had a duty to follow the preferences of our mother, and that is what we did. So therefore, controversy does not count. I do remember that even during the time when we were the day before, when we were bringing our mother back from Pune to Cochin, many people rang us up with the best of intentions and said, please don't do that. There'll be communal violence, there'll be tension, there'll be trouble. But our reply was very clear. Look, this is what our mother wanted, and we have no choice but to obey our mother. If there is problems, if there is tension, if there is violence, we have to face it. I'm very happy to say that maybe 1% responded in a negative way, but 99% of people of all communities have responded in a very positive way. For example, in temples, there have been prayers for my mother. In mosques all over the country and all over the world, there have been prayers for my mother. And some friends of ours who are Christian have held special services and even a special mass in her memory and for her. So I'm very happy at all this, because for her God was one, and she looked upon humanity as one. And therefore, whether it is a mass in a Catholic temple, whether it is in a mosque, whether it is in a Hindu temple, in my view, it is very, very good that these different faiths have got together to express their love for my mother, because it is proof of the fact that we are all, in that sense, united in our devotion to God, and we must not allow differences to obstruct this fundamental fact.
And can you please tell me, how was your experience at the Palai Masjid?
Well, I would like to say that we were treated completely equally, and there was no discrimination against us at all. We were there, my brothers and I were there, and we were treated in a completely the equal way as anybody else. Our wives were treated in the equal way as anybody else, and we did not feel any difference of treatment at all. And it was there in that mosque, in my opinion, and there in the love and affection of the faces of the people that we saw there, that I realized that my mother was right, and that Islam truly is a religion of peace and tolerance.
Can you please tell something to the viewers of twocircles.net?
My advice is very simple. You have God and you have the devil. You have some qualities which everybody knows associated with God. For example, compassion, beneficence, mercy. You have some qualities like hatred, violence, intolerance associated with the devil. I think as human beings, we should be very careful to see that we don't do devilish things and say that we are doing it in the name of God. If we really talk about God, if we are sincere about God, we will do what God wants us to do. And in the case of God, that is very clear. We must show compassion, we must show beneficence, we must show mercy. So I think it's very, very important that human beings recognize what are devilish and what are godlike, and try their level best to do things in a way that God would approve.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.